Thank you so much for joining us on today's edition of Mind Science or Mind Transformation, where we look at issues of the mind transformation, and also trying to understand the mind of a human being from the mind of God. And today we are looking at cause and effects, karma. I don't even know what I'm talking about, but it's good that the expert is here to help us, in digesting and explaining the cause and the effects, also the meaning of karma. I'm your host. My name is Dabola Chifokolo. My guest is a mindset change or expert, mind science expert, Richwell Siamunene. Sir, it's good to have you back, and welcome to Prime Television Zambia.
Thank you very much. And God bless you, and God bless viewers.
Thank you so much. Maybe a brief recap. The last time that we had this program, we looked at a number of issues. Maybe just bringing to speed viewers out there. What is it that you can remember which we talked about?
Well, there are a number of those things that we have talked about that we can recall, because as you know, I have decided myself to be an authority in this mind transformation agenda, and also mind science. And of course, the name or the word science comes from Latin word science, which means to know. So basically, science itself is to know. When something can be determined by principles, and there's laws governing that particular thing, and then it becomes a science. So mind itself being important, being man, because you cannot have man without the mind, and that is why I personally attach a great importance in terms of mind, that man is mind, and God says, let us create man in our own image. And the image of God that he created in man is mind, not the physical body. It's the mind. Now, we come to the Bible. The Bible is a manual of mind operation. It's an instruction manual how to operate the mind of course. And this mind of God, it sprang from the mind, this mind of man sprang from the mind of God, meaning that God and the mind of man are one, but man does not know it. And that mind is creative, because God, his nature is creative. Since God is creative, then man, by the same consequence, now becomes a creator. Now, what happens now with man is that he does not know, how to use the mind, because the mind is a double-edged sword. It is sharp on either side. So it can also attack you, it can also build you. So that is why we want now to understand the mind, how we can use the mind to manifest things that we desire in our lives. Oftentimes we manifest things that we don't desire and start fighting them. Meanwhile, they have come from our mind. So this is why I said that, look, this knowledge must be translated, in the minds of the people, so that people can know that, they have a very good weapon, they have a very dangerous weapon. If we don't use the mind correctly, then it can also choke us in a due course. But if we use it properly, then it will build you, it will enrich you, it will give you all the necessary things that you desire in your life. So basically, we looked at this particular diagram, and this diagram, viewers, for those who are watching us for the first time, it will be better for me to just explain what this diagram means. It looks very simple, it looks very simple, but otherwise educative or informative in its in nature, because the bigger circle, it's the mind of God, it's the spirit, and the spirit engulfs us. Everyone else is engulfed in the same spirit, in God. So meaning we are in God. And out of that, then man is created is created as an individual. But that individuality, it doesn't mean that man is away, is apart from God. No, he's part of God. Because the same spirit that is in man is the same spirit that God used to create anything in this world, to create even man himself. So man is part of God. Okay? Now, man sometimes he goes beyond. He thinks that he is not part of God, and he goes astray. And that is the many reasons that we talked about, that man, the main sin that man committed, okay, is to detach himself from God. Is for him to say he is not part of God. And because he says he's not part of God, then he suffers the consequences of being in human nature. So he is part of God. He is the spirit in nature, but he has to come back to his spiritual inheritance, because he himself is a spirit. So this is a diagram. These are people now, you and me and everyone else, and this is the spirit. Now, all of us, okay, there are two, let me mention for now, 3 numbers. 1, 2, 3. These numbers, 1 is the beginning. In the beginning, there was only 1, okay? And then out of that 1, many came. And at the end, okay, actually the beginning and the last, or the end, are the same. The beginning is the end, and the end is the beginning. So man, he will end being 1. The end of man is to be 1 with God. And that's why we go to church. We want to be 1 with God. That's the truth. And then man also was 1. During the creation, there was only 1 God. There is only 1 God. But yet, many manifestations of the same spirit. So that is how we came into being. So if we understand, if somebody understands this, okay, this oneness, okay, this oneness, if you understand it, then it means that you will not throw a stone at your brother, or you will not injure your brother, or you will not even insult your brother, because you will realize that after all, we are one spirit. Though we are diversity in our nature, or in our physical nature, but that diversity does not say you are separate with your brother. No, we are all one. So meaning every one of us is carrying God inside, and is carrying the spirit of God. It's better you realize that. Once you realize that, then you have conquered the world. But the world does not know that we are one. Okay?
Let's move on to,
Yeah, so what I'm saying that because we are trying to establish the connection with the topic that we have today.
Sure.
So that is that we are one. And that oneness is the spirit. Okay? Now, that is that oneness entails that we are divine in nature. Our divinity now, it makes us do things that other people don't imagine that it can be done. Now, when you talk about, now you come to the topic that we have today, come with cause and effect. Okay? God himself,
First of all, when you talk about cause and effects, the cause and the effect that we are talking about, is it the cause and effect of the mind, or it is the cause and effect of man who departs from the mind of God?
Now, cause and effect is action, and the consequences of that action, or those actions. Okay? That is what is popular now with this name that have come, or this word that has come now, karma. People are saying karma. There is nothing there new. It is cause and effect. Karma means action and the consequences of those actions. Okay? Now, that is why I wanted to explain now that God himself is a creator. His main purpose is to create. Okay? His main activity is to create. And now he created man in his own image. Man becomes a creator. Now, man, how does he create? One, through thinking. You have to think. You have to produce a word. You have to act. So all these three things, they are mentioned in the Bible. Okay? That when you think, say for example, you are thinking negative about me. You say, this man, let him be injured or what. Now, because you are one with me, we are all engulfed by the Spirit of God. Because God doesn't count as one. God counts as a whole. And the interest of God is for the whole, all its parts. That's why there is trained mind and untrained mind, or developed mind and developed mind. So what it means that cause and effect is that by your thinking, you are causing something. Now, through that thinking, at the end of that thinking, there is an effect. Now, the lesson now is that, what are you thinking? If you are thinking evil, it means that when that thinking bounces back to you, it will still carry what you are thinking and bring it to you evil. So it cannot bring you anything other than what you are thinking. So that is why it goes cause and effect. Okay? Action and consequences of that action, or the resultant of that action. So that is what is called karma. Popularly known as karma. So it doesn't choose, because God has no respecter of persons.
So you've talked about, or we are talking about cause and the effects, and you've talked about what you think. If you are thinking in a negative,
that's a cause.
It will come back.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
That it will come back. So if one is thinking negative, you've talked of man being a creator, and even in the thinking, man is creating.
Correct.
And if you are thinking negative,
you are creating negative.
Is it possible that you are thinking negative, but you'll be able to reap positive?
Practically impossible.
Why?
That's not, it's a law. It's a law. As a man thinks in his heart, so is he. It's a law. If you think negative, and you think that you can cheat the universe, or you can cheat God, and having the opposite.
Is it possible to think negative of somebody, and then in the end, it comes out positive and you benefit? Both you who was thinking negative and the very person you are thinking negative of, that at the end of the day, you benefit from the negative thoughts that
you can benefit. You can benefit. But your thinking is recorded in the universe, and it will come back to you at a time when you don't realize that. That's why we have politicians sometimes who think that either they have been persecuted or something has been done, so they don't check their stock of thoughts. Long time ago, somebody thought about it. Sometimes you are carrying the thoughts of your ancestors, because we are all thought entity. Okay? Our operating software, what is memory, thought, or cause and effect, or karma. Then you also have the resultant of that thinking, or desire. So that desire again will come and then do something. So we are our operating software. Operating software is karma, memory, and desire. That makes you who you are. That's for That is who you are. So what is happening is that you can get the positive out of somebody. You can cheat somebody and get something, benefit either in a material form. But what I can assure you is that it is recorded somewhere. And it will come back to you at a time when sometimes you have even forgotten about it. Okay? And it hit you. And somebody has to be used. Okay? Then, because Mr. Chifukolo has been used, okay, then I will hate Mr. Chifukolo, because he's the one who has been to convey the message, or to act in that order so that it is done. It is fulfilled. Because you yourself, where you are a prophet on your own. Right now, what you are thinking, right now what you are thinking, and whether what you are thinking or what you are doing, you are creating your future. Every moment of your life, the future is being created. So you should know, what am I thinking? What am I doing? What consequences is it going to bring? Or positive or negative? So if it's negative, you are better to abandon that and do what is correct, what is life building or life affirming, or constructive in nature. So that is how, so to answer your question, you can benefit, quite all right, but it will still come back. Sometimes it comes to your children.
Why I brought in the issue of thinking negative, because I've seen scriptures here and you keep on referring to God the Creator. I'm reminded of the story of Joseph, that he was sold by his brothers. And I remember when his brothers joined him in Egypt, he told them that your thinking was evil, but God made it for good. And the entire family, his brothers and including his father, benefited. So no wonder I'm saying, what started as a negative, his brothers thinking of evil, jealousy, envy, it turned out to be positive because he became a savior. What was seen to be negative, to be evil, turned out to be good.
Yeah, you see in life how God operates. Okay, something can happen today which seem to be negative, but preparing for the future. Okay, if you read the story of Joseph, it's a very good story. And Joseph, for your own information, if you Google and everywhere, it stands for imagination. So Joseph was a dreamer. Okay, he used to dream things, and why they sold him was because he was telling them what is to happen. Actually, what was happening there, what was telling those people that you will board the sun and the moon, okay, and all the stars, they will all be subjective to this one, so to him. So that's how they ended up selling him to. Now, what he was telling now was telling what was going to happen in the future. So all that thing, okay, all that thing was prepared for that. But otherwise, when they did themselves, because they were just used to fulfill. That's why I told you in the area before this, we brought Joseph, that sometimes you'll be used to fulfill a purpose. You'll be used to fulfill a purpose. Just because you want to fulfill, like Judas Iscariot, he was used to fulfill a purpose, because it was written that from the beginning, this is what is going to happen. Now, because there must be an idea. So that's why I'm saying the mind itself, you have to be very careful with the mind, because, okay, it has to come back. Whatever that you think, it has to be objectified on the screen of space.
Honorable, there are issues why is it that even after people have been told, even after seeing, again in the Bible we have got the doubting Thomas, but even when people have been told, they have been explained to, and they are able to see that this is how things are, why is it that people will think negative of what they have been told? Somebody is explaining in the positive. Why is it that the mind of man will think in the negative and not look at the picture which is being painted? What really happens there?
You must understand one thing, that we are living in a negative world. We are living in a negative world. So this world that we are in is more negative. Okay? So since we have been accustomed to this kind of thinking, that is why now we have to transcend from that kind of thinking to the right thinking. Okay? To the positive thinking. Because God is positive. Okay? Now, God is positive, and the mind of God is positive. Okay? All things are possible with God. Okay. Now, man himself, because he lives with this, because of his social mask, because this bodies that we are wearing is a social mask. We want to be controlled by the body, not by our spiritual nature. So that is why the spirit itself is positive. Okay. Now, because we want to follow the body, we become negative. Okay. Now, that's why people are so negative, that because they don't understand their true nature and their relationship between God and themselves, or God and ourselves. So because we lack that understanding, because that's why we have become so negative, that's why we are poverty-stricken. This poverty that we are suffering is not as a result of that design of God. No. It's because we are ignorant about what we have, about our relationship with God. If we become awakened to our sleeping state and know who we really are, all these problems that we have in this world will cease to exist.
You've talked about the problems that we have in this world, and you've talked about us waking up from our slumber. Let's talk about the problems that people face, be it at a home center, be it at the nation, be it world over. We are told the challenges countries today are facing similar challenges. We have seen what is happening, in Kenya. We have seen what people are planning in Malawi. We have seen what is happening in Zambia. This morning, we woke up to news from Liberia that the president has decided to cut his salary by 40% because of the challenges that are there. Can we say, what can we attribute to this? Does it mean we are thinking in the negative, and that is why we are having these challenges at a national level? Does it mean we are thinking in the negative, and that is why we are having these challenges at a household level or community level? Because communities today are suffering.
No, it's a misunderstanding of this relationship, that we are all one. Now, because we fight, you give me, for example, you give me the leadership, okay? Then I amass wealth for myself, not knowing that I've been given in order to save others. That is where the problem, because we don't understand our true nature, that we are interrelated, we are supposed to be depending on each other. Because this individuality, the individual nature of ourselves, this physical one, it's not for a purpose of grudge against your brother or denying your brother a chance. No, it's for a purpose of functioning, performing, okay? To perform certain things that you are not supposed, you are not endowed with. Okay? Then me, I'm given that particular, because God is infinite in nature. So, since God is infinite and His activities are also infinite, and these activities, they are in human beings. So, somebody must perform something for me to depend on, and I must do something as well. So, because we don't understand our connectedness, okay, that we are all, we are inseparable in our nature, our true nature, that we are inseparable, we are not separate. But we have taken our physical nature as the truth, which is not the same. That's why you find that people go get into leadership and amass wealth for themselves and their family and so on and forth. So they are doing all kind of evil things because they lack that understanding. But if this understanding is given at the early age, then when they have given that opportunity to save, they will save because it is God who is saving a fellow God, a son of God saving a fellow son of God. So that is how and then you find that all these problems that we are talking about in the whole world, they are as the result of not understanding this simple but educative.
Why are you calling it simple? If indeed because of our thinking, because of the way we perceive or look at things, we are having these challenges. Why are you calling it simple? Something that is simple, but it has brought untold misery. Why are you still calling it simple?
No, it's simple. What is simple? Because they can't understand it. Because it is simple. Man wants something that is complicated. So what is simple, man will not get it. Because like the way Jesus was very simple in his it was just ordinary explanation. It was not very much difficult, but because man wants those things that are difficult, those who are carrying books and books of the lawyers, the Pharisees were carrying books and books explaining to the people how this law, but Jesus was very simple. No. Look, you yourself, you are all sons of God, and you all have access to God. And because it was simple, they said, no, it's not possible. When he was asked, can you tell us when the kingdom of God will come? What did he answer? He says, no, the kingdom of God does not come by observation. The kingdom of God is within you. They could not take that. How then is this guy saying the kingdom of God is within us when we are expecting that kingdom to fall from somewhere from the sky, coming in that order? Okay? Now, because God has given us the mind, and within that mind, there is everything. That invisible thing that you have is where everything starts from or emanates from.
You've talked about man, not being accustomed to simple things, and you've given an example of Jesus and the Pharisees who were there before he came, and people were following the law. They would read the law to them, and that is what people were accustomed to. Now you've talked about God being the creator and man also, that man should create. Where is this hardness in man coming from? That man doesn't want to follow simple instructions, simple things man doesn't want to follow, but man wants to follow hard stuff. Where is this hardness coming from? And how can we deal with it?
There are people who understand, okay, that. There are people who understand the correct theory, but they don't want to give it to other people. They will rather give you something else which will mislead you, so that they take advantage of you. Right now, I've told you, if you read now, you just read that Ephesians 4:4. To get that understanding, just read that Ephesians 4:4. And you understand that it gives you the insight of who you are and your relationship with God. But other people will not give the people that information because they want to take advantage of them. And I'll read other verses that for the viewer to understand that they can read.
Ephesians 4:4. There is one body and one spirit.
This is one body that
even as you are called in one hope for your calling.
Yes. Go down.
One Lord, one faith, one baptism, one God and Father of all, who is above all and through all and in you all.
Yes. Now, that's why I've drawn this. This God, He's in all of us. He's supposed to work in us, okay? As opposed to waiting for Him from somewhere else outside ourselves, okay? Now, we have been told that we have to seek permission from somewhere. God is writing issues somewhere. But yet the Bible gives a simple instruction to us that He is the Father of all. He is in all. If He is in all, He must be in you, He must be in me. Now, why are we individuals? Because we are individuals in order to help each other, where one is talented and express that. It is for expression. Okay? Now we don't understand this. And this is your mind, because I'm emphasizing the mind. The knowledge of your mind is very cardinal, extremely important, and yet has been ignored. People are not taught. Okay? Understanding of this diagram, or I call it simple diagram, is the beginning of wisdom. Because you know that any wise person will not do wrong to another person. Any wise person will not do wrong to another person, because he understands the nature, the relationship between him and the other people. If I give you another one, understand how Solomon was given wisdom. How was he given wisdom? What made him seek for wisdom? you go to Kings. You go to 1 Kings 3. You read from 7 to 10. You understand that
1 Kings
3,
verse
7. You will understand that what I have given the people here is the truth, nothing but the truth.
And now, O Lord my God, thou hast made thy servant king instead of David, my father, and I am but a little child. I know not how to go out or come in.
He reduced himself, he humbled himself, yes.
And your servant is in the midst of the people which has chosen a great people that cannot be numbered nor counted for multitude. Give therefore your servant an understanding heart, judge your people, that I may discern between good and bad. For who is able to judge these
no, so he says
great people?
To judge good and bad, okay? So he asked for wisdom, for justice. So much so that he will not mistreat any one of these. But yet, there were many, they were numbered. Okay? They were from other tribes. But yet, he himself said, look, give me knowledge and understanding, so much so that I will be able to judge your people correctly.
You've talked about wisdom.
So, yeah, I'm talking about oneness now. You understand now. It brings oneness now.
You've talked about oneness, and here, the example that you've given us is of a king who was presiding over the affairs.
A leader, you're talking about a leader.
A leader.
Yes.
Is it only leaders that should be able to ask for wisdom on how to manage the affairs of people, or even an individual who is being led? Is it possible for somebody who is being led, he has got no following, for example, somebody who doesn't even have a family, is it possible to ask God for wisdom on how to look after people when you are just alone, when you are not a leader? Is it possible to ask for wisdom from God on how to lead people when you are being led?
We, by nature, we are all leaders. You are a king yourself here, where you are. Okay? You are a king. You must control yourself.
From what?
Your mind must be able to control you in order to know what you should think about. Okay? So you must bring justice to yourself. So we are all leaders in many respects. Okay? Now, we are talking about, now I've answered that anyone can have access to God, and anyone can seek for wisdom, so that you will be able to discern certain things. Okay? Because when you find two people arguing, so if you are wise and you are moving with God, then you will know who is wrong there and able to advise people correctly. Okay? So that is, you can ask wisdom even when you have 2 children, you have a family, because we are leaders in many respects. Even ourselves, we are leading ourselves. You must control yourself. You must control this vessel, and you become a leader and a king for that matter. Okay? So, to answer you is that not only those who are controlling or who are in charge of a number of people, we are all leaders.
Is there, a time frame or time given to an individual? Because we are still looking at the cause and effect. And that if you think negative, if you perform in a negative way, you expect negative results to come back. It's more like a cycle. Cycle. What goes up comes down the way it went up.
That's all. That's the energy now. Energy, because we are all energy in nature.
So is there a time frame that is given to people? Say, okay, when you reach here, you begin to adjust. You start doing good, because there are people that have gone into history books that those people, when they had an opportunity, they misused the opportunity they had. Instead of doing good, they did bad. And so whatever is happening to them, it is because that is what they planted. Is there a time where one will be able to adjust and start doing the good things, or you can continue doing the bad things because it is rather too late for you?
That's why we bring the mind issue. We should at one time think that this what I'm doing, is it good for me? That's number one. Number two, is it good for all people? Has it got negative effect for the other people? If the answer is yes, don't do it. Do the correct thing that is good for you and good for other people. I think that is the way. So somebody has to start thinking right. That is why these programs, they are coming on, so that one who is going to hear it and then will be able to give to another. And by so doing, then we will live in a nation where there is no tribe, where there is no ethnic consideration, where there is no much family type consideration that can divide us. So you bring those things away from you, and you're just living as a son or a daughter of God, and you treat everyone equally. That's what the Bible calls us. So it calls for you to rethink, or to be born again in the biblical terms. To be born again is not just you have to go into your mother's womb. No, it's to change your thinking. It's transformation of the old thinking to the new thinking. Of the old consideration of that you are separate from God to the new thinking that we are one with God. That saying that Jesus used to say every time and say, I and my Father are one, I and my Father are one. He was telling you, even you are one with your Father. Okay? You are one with your Father. Although you appear two, which I told you the numbers. Although you appear two, but you are one. Because the same one is in you. And the same you are in that one. So, you become one. So, that is our new thinking. That's the way we are supposed to transform our mind. From that old thinking of separateness to the new thinking of oneness. Once you reach that state, you become one with God. And if you become one with God, then all things become possible. So all these things that is happening, I want to tell you now. Let me come now. Because me, I don't fear. I don't favor. If people want me to speak the way they want me to speak, I will not speak it. I will speak the way I think things are right. Because all my life and the remainder of my life, I want to be honest with whatever I will do. I will not join people who want to persecute others and thinking that I'm going to be there. No. I will only be there with people who are building others. Then I will say, yes, you are my friend, let's go. Now, whatever that is happening right now, Africa is facing, Zambia in particular is facing, it is cause and effect. It's karma. There's nothing. We as a nation, we are in this coming episode. We are in this coming episode. That same memory, the memory of one party state is still there in our mind. That's why every party that comes in wants to destroy the other party that came. MMD, when he came into power, destroyed what? UNIP. Because of one party state memory that is still lingering there. And then that is karma. It comes back. Then when PF came in into power, there were all schemes to make sure that MMD does not exist. And it was status. And even the UPND now is doing the same thing. Make sure that PF is gold. So this is a national karma which we have to deal with. But people have to be used in order to perform that, unfortunately. But if we continue with this trajectory, we will not come out of this. Divisions will continue because we have not realized that we really need to do something extraordinary, something strange, do things different in order for us to have different results. This is why I'm calling on the young people to understand this kind of teaching, this kind of information. It will help them going into the future. Because we are living in a karmic law. So everything is karma. And I want to demonstrate to you, but for and others, before we go, you read Colossians 3, verse 25. To understand that, because we are religious people here in Zambia. And some people, they can only understand when the Bible is read to them. And then that's when they'll say, oh, yeah, this is real. Otherwise, if you have not reading the Bible, you're just talking, they will think that you are talking nonsense. 3:25.
Colossians 3:25.
Yes. Then you will go to Galatians.
And all wrongdoers will be repaid for the wrong things they do, because God judges everyone by the same standard.
Let me read it out. I want to read it twice so that they can understand, because that is very important. People want to accuse others for the thing that is happening, not realizing that what did I do myself? Because every moment of my life, everything that I am saying now, everything that I do, I'm creating the future for myself.
And so it will come back.
It will come to me. So what am I creating? So the Bible has told you. Read it again, so that the emphasis is
all wrongdoers will be repaid for their wrong things they do, because God judges everyone by the same standard.
And he's not a respecter of person. It goes down there.
You say they go to Galatians?
Yeah, Galatians 6, reading from verse 7. So you are paid. All wrongdoers will be paid. So when a wrong thing has happened to me, when a negative thing has happened to me, the question that I must ask, what did I do in the past so that I avoid it in the future? Galatians. So much so that these things that are coming to me are avoided.
Galatians 6
verse 7.
Do not deceive yourselves.
Do not deceive yourself.
No one makes fool of God. You reap exactly what you plant.
Yes. So what I plant, I'll reap. I cannot fool God. And I plant cotton, and I harvest cassava. It can't happen like that. So what am I planting in my mind? That's why I'm talking about mind being very important. What am I putting in my mind? Because I will reap the same thing in the future. There are consequences. That's why I was talking about karma.
So we go back to the Bible. The Bible is very clear, and the examples are there for everyone to see. When I said there are people that are suffering today, and when you go back, you realize that when they had power or when they had an opportunity, they misused the opportunity. They, made others to suffer. And when they are suffering, there are people that will just say, this person is suffering because of what they did. Now, despite all these examples and the Bible being very clear, what is it that man should do? What is it that man should be able to do to avoid the consequences that are coming ahead? What is it that man should be able, what sort of medicine should man be able to apply?
It's understanding this, that we are all one. That whatever I do, or whatever I say...
You're saying we don't understand?
Yes, because we do the wrong thing. They don't understand their true nature.
Who is going to make them to understand?
That's why we bring with such lessons for the people to understand. So that when you are given that opportunity, as we have said, when you are given the opportunity, even you, when you are given an opportunity here, make sure that whatever you do is building somebody. Whatever you think is correct in life building. Okay? It has no destructive effect now and in the future. So that is the only way you can avoid karma. It's avoidable, of course. The only way you can avoid it is to do good. And when you do good, when you do good, good will come to you. But people want to have good when they are doing bad. It can't happen. God doesn't work like that. As the Bible says, doesn't work. You are fooling yourself. Do not fool yourself. You cannot fool God. You will get exactly what you have planted. So your field now is your mind. That's why we come with the mind science, the knowledge of the mind. Once you know the knowledge of the mind, how it operates, then you become a king. Then you don't need to worry. If somebody does bad to you, you don't need to worry. You say, oh, he's injuring himself or she is injuring himself. I'm sorry, you are injuring yourself. Because the same thing that you are doing to me, tomorrow it will come to you.
As we are winding down, is it possible for one to be injuring others without knowing?
Yeah.
People have been injured, people have been hurt, people have been ripped apart, but the person who is ripping and, you know, damaging other people's lives and images, this person doesn't. Is it possible that I didn't know, that this person didn't know what was happening, but people have been injured?
Yeah, other people may not know
that they are injuring others.
You are injuring. But you should know that if I'm hating one, the only thing that they don't know.
Is it possible not to know that I'm hating
No,
one?
wait a minute. You know what I'm saying, that they will know that I am hating one. That's number one.
So there is no room to say, I didn't know that I'm hating you.
No, because
we've heard people saying, I didn't know that I'm hating you. I didn't know that my actions had an impact on your life.
I go into government and steal 1 quarter. I say I didn't know. Meanwhile, you know that you are supposed to save. Then you say I didn't know. Then later on I bring, what is that law which I always condemn? For
future.
For future. You bring that law. Meanwhile, somebody did it deliberate. He didn't know that he was just going there to save. He knew what he was doing. Only that they are saying, I didn't know, because they want to be ignorant and accuse the devil. That is because the devil. No, you are lying. It was in your mind. Maybe before we go, let me read the other verses for the benefit of the other people. Let us also read Isaiah 55. Isaiah 55. I'm getting old and new, and Matthew 12. If you read Matthew 12, 36, it will tell you exactly what I'm saying, that it's nothing but the truth. If we are to consider the dictate of the Bible, because the Bible is the only truth that I know of, and the only good book. All other books.
Isaiah
55
verse
11 1.
Isaiah 55 verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
So also will be the word that I speak.
The word, not the word.
The word that I speak.
Yes.
It will not fail to do what I plan for it. It will do everything I send it to do.
So when you speak the word, you are sending that word, and it will come. The same thing that is contained to come back to you and deliver to you. And when it delivers, you accuse somebody. No, this person has that. No, I has just been an agent. It will come back. It was supposed to come back, but somebody had to be used in order to deliver it. So that is how it is. Read also to Matthew 12:36. So every word.
Matthew 12,
36, 37.
You can be sure that on the judgment day, you will have to give account of every useless word you have ever spoken. Your words will be used to judge you, to declare you either innocent or guilty.
Yes. So you are judged by your words. What do you speak against your brother? What do you say to your brother? Do you say your brother is stupid? Do you say your brother is kangaroo? Or anything, or any animal in this world? Then the same thing that you are saying to your brother, you are saying to yourself, because we are all one. That's what I say, and a developed mind. A developed mind will know that any transaction, any undertaking must benefit all the parties involved equally. Any developed mind will understand this, and developed mind will do things to disadvantage the other person, not knowing that they may succeed now, but in the future, maybe their children will not benefit from that wealth. Not maybe, their children. If it doesn't come to you, it will come to your children. So whatever when you are given an opportunity now, What I'm saying that whenever you are given an opportunity to do something or to serve in a certain position, do it that whatever you do benefit other people involved, not only to benefit yourself, because whatever you are going to accrue, you accrue it now, you are going to enjoy, but you will suffer the consequences. Sometimes, in most cases actually, it does happen that your body, especially the heart is relational, holistic, okay? It doesn't have win-lose situation. So when you want you to win and your brother to lose, because it knows that we are all one, the heart knows that we are all one, because it taps from the cosmic computer, from the universe, from God. So the heart will send a message that no, this is not right. But you are going to force it to do what it's supposed to do. Then the heart will send a message, and because you have done something that is wrong, injuring another person, which is contrary to your nature, then your heart now, you may develop heart failure, heart problems, and other illnesses are coming from misunderstanding the role of the mind and our role in this scheme of life. That is where it comes from. Your heart is an organ that is fair, that is love. It wants to enjoy that harmony. It will pump nicely. But if you think that secretly steal from somebody or from somewhere, or are given a position, then start stealing, your heart now will not be performing. It will permanently pumping blood abnormally. And the consequences that you develop some illness that you will not understand, just because you have not done what is correct according to your existence. So that is how it is. So certain things, we underrate them and thinking that you are injuring Mr. Chifokoro, yet you are also injuring yourself. Because of this, the first law of our existence is oneness. So, a first law is oneness. We are dying today because we departed from our oneness with God. When we understand that, the time we understand that we are one with God, then we have defeated the world, human thinking or world thinking. So that is how things are supposed to be. If all leaders at every level understand that we are one, we are a unity, and in unity, that's where God lives. And unity, for your own information, unity is love. They are intertwined. You cannot separate unity and love. Where there is unity, there must be love. And where there is love, there must be God. If in this country there is no unity, there is no love. And if in this country there is no love, there is no God. We're just going to church to pray for nothing, for academic purposes, not really pray. Because we must first cultivate love. When we cultivate love, we have cultivated God. And that means God will exist. And all whatever we're going to do, it will be from that wisdom point of view. Because wisdom is fair.
Honorable, we have to go.
Thank you.
Looking at the cause and effects, and maybe just to sum it up, the cause and the effects, and also just the word karma.
Yes.
As we go.
So karma, of course, listeners, is action and consequences of those actions. That's why it is called as well cause and effect. Every effect, there is a cause. So many people want to look for effect. They are complaining, they have tried to kill the effect, not realizing that there must be a cause somewhere. So when you are mistreated, go back to your cause. Maybe there is a cause somewhere and heal it, and everything will go. So this country must know this. This is very important, that we are living under karmic episode. And the better thing that we can do for our great nation is to realize that we need to transcend, okay, or to transmute these two words, this karma, and this country will be a better country to heal. Only then are we going to have good and progressive development. Otherwise, we'll be going round and round, yet we are leaving the cause. The cause is in our own mind, and we have to heal our mind, and everything will be better. Thank you.
Thank you so much. There you have it. We've been looking at cause and effects, and the keyword is karma. So we've read scriptures, the examples that have been given, and I'm hoping that you've learned one or two things, and that you're looking forward to yet another episode when we'll be back to continue talking about mind science, mindset change, and also what is involved in the mind of man departing from the mind of God. Is it possible to go back and start doing the right thing? We've been told that whatever you are planting today, you'll be able to reap exactly what you've planted. And karma will still come back, because we've been looking at the cause and the effects. Let us not cure the effects, but let us look at the cause. My guest being a mindset expert, Richwell Siamunene. And on behalf of the entire production crew, my name is Dabola Kelvin Chifo. Until next week, same time, same place. So bye for now.
Thank you.